Good morning. This is Doreen with ThoughtStorm Journal. I want to talk a little bit today about narcissists. And one of the things we don't really think about as much when we think about narcissists. In today's society, we've become kind of conditioned to thinking narcissists are these evil beings that cause problems for everyone. And having been surrounded by them my entire life, it's pretty hard to argue with that. But I've seen hundreds of YouTube videos telling us how to handle narcissists, how to reverse manipulate the narcissist or exact revenge on them, how to hurt them back or even destroy them. And although it's important to educate yourself about narcissists and how to recognize them or even how to survive alongside them if necessary, there's a bigger picture to consider. We may think we're pretty smart and can steer clear of them. But no matter how much we educate ourselves about them, we're still being duped and controlled by narcissists every day, at work, at school, and when we turn on our TVs. As much as I think we need to know how to identify them and stay away from them, I kind of think we need to feel sorry for them too, as they are very sad human beings. But we also need to know what we're really up against when we go out into the world and try to make a life for ourselves. Because we are living among narcissists. We have to understand that narcissists don't have amazing self-esteem. This is a myth. It's quite the opposite, actually. They live in a kind of hell inside their minds, and it's not really a hell of their own making. First, understand what creates a narcissist in the first place. A person who grows up to be a narcissist is a product of parents who had an idealistic or unrealistic expectation of them as a child. The parents had this picture in their minds of the quote-unquote perfect child, and the child was expected to conform to that, which they, of course, never could do. And as a result, this child can't possibly make the parents happy. If they exert their own unique personality, they have to fight with their parents for their own sense of self. If they give in and conform and do and act the way they're told to, they give up their own soul and sense of identity. But if these children show any signs of being themselves in any way, they're labeled the difficult or problem child. Every time this child acts independently, they are determined by the parents to be selfish and problematic. And even though the parents would never say it, they harbor resentment for this child. They may feel threatened by this child on some level or even jealous of them. Therefore, the child's most important early relationship is fractured from the start. No bond of affection is formed between the child and the parent. This child has no safe place to go, no affection, no security, no feeling of safety in their own home. In essence, they don't feel loved because they aren't loved. The approval of their parents is predicated on them behaving like the perfect child. And since perfection isn't possible, this child never meets the standard. And as a result of that, they live their lives in a very hostile world in which they can't trust anyone, and they have to fight for every scrap of affection and attention they get. They begin to believe that everyone they meet is out for their own interests and that they need to be out for their own interests too. So they systematically develop a self-centered way of being. No one cared about them, and in turn, they've learned not to care about anyone else either. They become emotionally destitute and adopt an attitude of trying desperately to find ways to feel a sense of self-worth. And since they couldn't get what they needed from their parents, they need to go out and take it from others because they've learned that's how people get things. And they grow up believing they need to seek power, fame, and money, and all other kind of accomplishments, no matter what the cost, no matter who or what they have to step on or knock out of the way, to prove to themselves that they're worth something and to validate themselves. Because they've learned from their parents that no one is on their side and that they have to go out and grab things for themselves. And the narcissistic behavior can start as early as their teenage years. Social media has brilliantly given a platform for everyone to be the center of attention, and in turn given an incubating ground for those with budding narcissistic personality disorder. That girl you see on social media that posts endless numbers of selfies in skimpy clothes, trying to see how many likes she can get, is displaying narcissistic behavior. And of course, it's not just girls. Guys also have been known to post endless selfies and try to play up their lives like they have the most exciting things going on all the time, for the sake of likes also. Why do they do it though? Because these kids don't value themselves. They've learned that their value is based on the number of likes they can get on social media, their appearance, their material possessions, their accomplishments that make everyone envy them. And if they don't really have those things, they'll try to make people believe that they do. Some of them put on such a great performance in their lives that we all believe they have amazing levels of self-esteem and amazing lives. But they have perhaps the lowest view of themselves that anyone can have. And what's worse is these kids grow up to be adults. Now, most of us who aren't narcissists understand that our self-worth is based on what we contribute to the world as a whole and how we treat others. But imagine these children grow up to be adults, and they set out to prove their worth as they've learned to understand worth to be. What they look like, what they do for a living, the cars they drive, what they wear, etc. Narcissists are the ones who are most likely to pursue public attention, like fame and wealth and notoriety. They are more likely to use YouTube or Instagram to get attention or to influence others. Are those people always narcissists? No, but they are more likely to be. Narcissists are the most likely to pursue a career in entertainment or politics because it validates them to be in the spotlight and acknowledged by others. They need to be in a career where people tell them how great they are on a daily basis. It makes them feel important. So the likelihood of finding them in those fields is very great. Narcissists naturally choose fields in which they will be perceived as being accomplished or attractive or superior in other ways. But that's not all. Since they've learned how to be in relationships from their narcissistic parents, they treat their new significant others and incidentally everyone else around them just like their parents treated them. This is how they've learned is the way to be in the world. So everyone around them has to fall in line and meet the standard the narcissist has set for them. Everyone has a part to play in their grand performance for the world, just like their parents expected from them. And Hollywood and Washington, D.C. are full of these people. They're no exceptions to the rule. They are the norm there. Narcissists are everywhere in the public eye. They control your government, they control your TV and movies, and it's very likely you've worked for one in your life, at least one. Remember, these are the people who've learned that no one cares about them, so they don't care about anyone either. They've learned that no one cares and no one will help them, so they have to go out and take what they need from other people. And they have no problem lying or acting like they care in order to get what they want. And of course, not everyone in these positions is a narcissist, but it's the narcissist that is much more likely to pursue these positions of power. And those in the entertainment business and politicians fall into this category. So, even if we've escaped narcissists in our personal lives, we still fall for them every day. Every time we worship some A-list actor and we're fawning over their expensive cars, clothes, and jewelry, we're inadvertently becoming their enablers, validating and justifying everything they do. Every time we think that politician seems to align with our beliefs and seems to be on our side and care about the things we care about, we have to realize we may be giving a narcissist permission to take advantage of us. They may not be in the entertainment business, but they do a lot of acting too. What they do for a living is really not that much different. And they can be very persuasive. We have to be careful what we're falling for every day, and this could be all of them. Unfortunately, In order to understand the world and how it works, we have to understand narcissism. It's a terrible thing that these people live in such hell inside their heads. And it's terrible that they didn't have parents that loved and valued them. And even though I'm not advocating for feeling sorry for them, I do think it's important to be aware of what we're dealing with out there in the world and see them for what they really are.